There are 5 things that I put in my compost that I didn't expect to put in, so you probably didn't expect me to either. Today, I want to talk about them. Hi, my name is Jackie and welcome back to my channel. I'm really glad that you're here. Now, I really love the fact that I can make my own compost. I can put all of our garden waste, I can put a lot of our household waste into the compost, and it makes something that really helps my garden to flourish. So the 5 things that I put in my garden that you might be surprised about actually help me with a problem that I also have with my compost, which is finding enough brown, which is finding enough dry stuff to put in my compost. So that's the first hint. First thing is any paper from inside my house. So any non-glossy, limited coloured paper goes into my compost. I just rip it up into shreds and I chuck it in. I used to shred it. I bought a $20 shredder from Kmart, and I do still use it for some things. We'll get to that later, but I don't bother doing that now. I just rip it up into strips, tip it into the compost, mix it round, and she's good to go. The next thing that I put in my compost that might surprise you are toilet rolls. Now, these I do shred up. I probably don't really need to. I could just rip them up, but I just find as far as distributing them throughout the compost, I do just find it easier for these in particular to shred them up. And my little $20 shredder still does the job. The third thing are egg cartons. Now, these, I keep this because I'm a compulsive keeper of things, and I've been saying that I've been going to get chooks for the last 2 years, and we are going to get chooks. However, I keep keeping the egg cartons, and I've finally got to the point they need to be put to good use. So they now go into the compost. Now, if they're like this, we get 2 different types of egg cartons here in Australia. There's these that don't have the glossy paper on top. Now, any of these that have the glossy paper, I actually soak overnight, and this stuff usually lifts right off. If I do have trouble getting this stuff off, I don't stress about it, and I just chuck it in anyway. Most of the time, it just lifts off immediately, and you can throw that in the bin. But egg cartons are great for compost. The 4th thing that I put into my compost are all the things that they say you shouldn't put in your compost, which is things like onions, things like citrus, things like dairy, things like baked goods. Now, we don't eat a lot of baked goods. Occasionally, the end of a loaf of bread will go in there, but we don't have a lot of that sort of stuff, so not a lot of stuff goes in. And, the dairy that would go in would be things like, I don't know, like leftovers off our plates, not, big hunks of cheese and yogurt and stuff like that. So I do have a 4-year-old. There is a bit of food waste in our house. So that sort of stuff goes in there. Now, the 5th thing that you might be surprised about is Play-Doh. Again, I have a 4-year-old. I do make Play-Doh at home. It's literally salt, flour, water, a little bit of oil, a little bit of food colouring. I obviously don't put it in a glob like that. I break it up and I spread it out, and I make sure that it's turned really, really frequently after I put the Play-Doh in. But I just want to be able to recycle as much as I possibly can. As far as food, the only thing that doesn't go in is meat. Just from a smell point of view, I don't want the dog to be attracted to the compost. So meat is probably about the only thing that doesn't go in. So that, short and sweet, are the 5 things that I put in my compost that might surprise you. And as you can tell, they are all browns. They're all dry things that really actually help my compost, and I've actually found it to make a really big difference in my compost now that I'm incorporating them into the compost. So please let me know in the comments below the types of things that you put in your compost that might be a little bit different. I'd really, really love to hear it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.